Have you ever found yourself in the unsettling presence of someone who just doesn't seem to fit into the norms of human decency? It's a chilling realization when you encounter individuals whose actions or attitudes leave you with an uneasy feeling. Perhaps it's a friend whose words twist the very essence of trust, or a colleague who revels in manipulation. This discomfort prompts us to question, what is evil? Why does it manifest itself in such mundane settings, often cloaked behind a mask of normalcy? Elisabeth Kübler-Ross, the groundbreaking psychiatrist, helps us navigate these murky waters of human behavior. Her work on the stages of grief has provided profound insights into the complexity of our emotions when faced with loss and suffering. However, her teachings extend beyond simply understanding grief. They prompt us to reflect upon how we interpret malevolence in our daily lives. The unsettling notion that evil can thrive not only in the extremes of human experience, but also in our everyday interactions, is a revelation that demands our attention. When we consider the individuals that trigger this dark intuition, we often struggle to comprehend their actions. Denial clouds our thoughts, leading us to dismiss our feelings. Could this person truly be malicious, we wonder, often rationalizing harmful behaviors that confront us? It's easy to get lost in the fog of denial, to cling to the belief that people are inherently good. But in doing so, are we simply putting on blinders to avoid facing our realities? Reflect on your past encounters. Have you ignored troubling signals from someone, hoping they would turn around? Perhaps they exhibited anger, spoke sharply, or manipulated situations to their advantage. The instinctive denial we feel can keep us anchored to harmful relationships. Anger, when it arises, often feels misplaced. We wrestle with frustration directed at ourselves for not catching the signs sooner. Kübler-Ross teaches us that these emotions, denial and anger, are part of a natural response process. They compel us to confront the darkness that exists not only outside ourselves, but within our circles of trust. It's unsettling, isn't it, to realize that evil doesn't always flaunt itself in grand gestures. Sometimes it's subtle, embedded within the mundane moments of everyday life. This is where the myth of order begins to unravel. As we navigate the complexities of human relationships, we must question what we consider normal. Are we complicit in allowing harmful behaviors to persist because we fear the confrontation they necessitate? Now, consider the last time you felt a similar weight in your chest or a shiver down your spine in someone's presence. What if that feeling was your mind's way of waving a red flag? Often, we subdue this intuition, thinking it's merely our imagination or an overreaction. But what if these internal nudges are critical alerts we should take seriously? By acknowledging our feelings and giving them space to breathe, we open ourselves to deeper truths. Ultimately, recognizing evil or even the potential for harmful actions requires more than just surface-level observation. It involves a willingness to delve into the labyrinth of our emotions and confront what lies within. It's about, instead of retreating into denial, leaning into our unease and allowing anger to inform our judgments. Each of these stages can be an opportunity for self-reflection, pushing us toward healthier boundaries and relationships. So, as you ponder this unsettling reality, ask yourself, what does evil look like in your life? How have you navigated encountering harmful behaviors? And in what ways can this recognition empower you to reshape your relationships for the better? If you want to unravel the mysteries of human behavior, subscribe now and activate notifications to delve deeper into the dark sides of humanity. Let's embark on this journey together, exploring the shadows that often go unnoticed but undeniably impact our lives. As we move deeper into the unsettling abyss of recognizing evil, we encounter a crucial element: denial. It's a protective mechanism, a comforting shield that our minds erect to guard against the discomfort of acknowledging someone's malevolence. Have you ever stood there in disbelief while observing someone's harmful behavior, caught in a spiral of rationalization? It can't be that bad, we might think. They were just having a rough day, we tell ourselves, as we cling to the hope that the person we care for is capable of change. This instinct to deny can trap us in harmful cycles, leaving us feeling hurt and confused. Denial can manifest in various forms. Perhaps it's minimizing hurtful comments by attributing them to stress or a bad mood, or maybe it's ignoring repeated betrayals from a trusted friend. This stage often blinds us to the truth, making it difficult to see the reality of our situation. When we silence our inner voice that warns us of danger, we risk welcoming harmful dynamics into our lives. It takes immense courage to confront that voice and recognize it for what it is. Now, let's reflect back on our feelings. Have you ever experienced that jarring shift from disbelief to anger when confronted with someone's toxic behavior? Anger can be a powerful emotion, often bubbling beneath the surface as we grapple with the realization that our trust has been violated. It's healthy to feel angry. It's a natural response to injustice. However, this anger can easily morph into something more detrimental if we let it consume us. Instead of allowing it to motivate positive action, we may find ourselves acting out, lashing out, or engaging in self-destructive behaviors. Consider the last argument you had with someone you cared about. Did you find yourself caught in a cycle of blame fueled by your frustration? Or did this anger catalyze a conversation that forced the other person and yourself to confront uncomfortable truths? Recognizing that anger can spark revelation opens a door to self-awareness. It urges you to reflect on what behaviors are acceptable in your relationships and which ones need to change. Kübler-Ross highlighted the pivotal nature of confronting our emotions in her teachings. She urged individuals to articulate their feelings rather than suppress them. Anger is an emotion with a purpose, she said, and perhaps its most profound purpose lies in its ability to cut through denial. Once we wrestle with our anger, we can move past the initial reactions and begin to ask deeper questions. Why do I feel betrayed? How does this person's behavior affect my well-being? Those reflections can illuminate the boundaries we need to set in our relationships. As you turn these questions inward, visualize resentment building up like a pressure cooker. What happens if you ignore it? Over time, that pressure mounts to dangerous levels. But as with all emotions, when approached consciously, this pressure can transform into motivation. It can encourage dialogue, stimulate self-defining boundaries, and prompt you to advocate for yourself and your mental health. Have you ever confronted someone only to feel a wave of relief wash over you afterward? That cathartic release is a powerful reminder that standing up against harmful behavior often leads to personal empowerment. Acknowledging your anger enables you not just to evaluate the actions of the person in question, but also to clarify what you will and won't tolerate. But let's not forget, anger alone is not a solution. We must interrogate our feelings further. It's easy to get caught in the narrative that others have immense power over our emotions. Instead, consider, how can you reclaim ownership of your feelings and decisions? This isn't just about anger. It's about navigating the emotional landscape surrounding harmful individuals in your life. So take a moment and ask yourself, what patterns emerge when you confront someone's evil? Are you often delayed by denial and anger? How can you transform those emotions into clarity and action? As you process these thoughts, I invite you to share your experiences. Have you ever felt denial or anger regarding someone's harmful behavior? Leave a comment below and let's ignite a discussion about these emotions that can become stepping stones toward healthy relationships. Together, we can shed light on the darker corners of human connections and emerge into a space where we cultivate healing and resilience in the face of adversity. As we delve deeper into the psychological landscape of navigating harmful relationships, we encounter another significant layer, the negotiation process. This concept comes into play especially when we try to rationalize the presence of toxic individuals in our lives. Often, we find ourselves engaged in an emotional bargaining game, attempting to coexist with someone whose behavior starkly contradicts our values. What does this process look like? Picture yourself at a market, haggling over a price for something that's far from what you wanted. But instead of an object, it's your emotional well-being on the negotiating table. Elisabeth Kübler-Ross's work introduced us to the complexity of dealing with grief and loss, and her concepts can be extended to comprehend these negotiations with toxic behavior. We may tell ourselves, if I just tolerate this behavior for a little longer, things will improve. This thinking may lead us to downplay the severity of a situation just to maintain a semblance of harmony or normalcy. But what is the cost of this kind of negotiation on our mental health? Let's illustrate this with a common scenario. Perhaps you have a friend who often makes disparaging remarks disguised as jokes. Each time this happens, you feel a little worse, but you keep negotiating the terms of your friendship. They didn't mean it, you may convince yourself. They have a lot going on. Over time, this negotiation may exacerbate feelings of guilt or depression as you wrestle with the reality of this relationship. Have you noticed how often we feel depressed after attempting to convince ourselves that harmful behaviors are in fact acceptable? The heavy weight of emotional compromise can depress our spirits, making us feel trapped or powerless. Ignoring those harmful behaviors for the sake of maintaining a relationship can lead us to neglect our own mental health. Think of this as emotional debt accumulating without any visible benefits. Just as financial debt weighs down on the body and mind, this emotional burden can sap our energy, cloud our judgment, and, over time, erode our self-esteem. It's crucial to recognize that the price we pay for tolerating toxic behavior can manifest as anxiety or depression. The longer we try to negotiate away fundamental issues, the more we may find ourselves spiraling into a state of discontentment. Acknowledging that negotiation isn't a viable solution is the first step toward reclaiming your emotional freedom. How often have you felt that dread creeping in as you prepare to interact with someone who seems intent on negotiating your boundaries? Your gut feeling, which you so often silence, is telling you it's time to take a stand. Consider this. What if we reframed our perspective? Instead of viewing negotiation as the only option, we can begin to see it as a red flag, indicating that something fundamentally needs to change. The clarity that comes from recognizing the emotional toll of these transactions can ignite a fire within you to set limits. Ask yourself, what are the behaviors you will no longer tolerate? How can you communicate these boundaries effectively? In this phase, confronting your emotions becomes essential. There are many methods to express and set boundaries. Written communications, verbal discussions, or even distancing oneself from toxic people can be effective. The journey of negotiation need not be a one-sided affair. It can transform into a dialogue where you advocate for yourself. But here lies the pivotal truth. This isn't just about the other person, it's about you. The focus should shift from the painful behaviors of others to how these experiences impact your psyche. What if, instead of framing the relationship as a negotiation, you framed it as a partnership that requires mutual respect? True partnership, after all, fosters growth and understanding. So take a moment to consider your own negotiation strategies. Are they serving you, or are they costing you your peace of mind? Evaluate how often you're operating from a place of sacrifice rather than empowerment. This reflection can lead to the realization that relinquishing toxic relationships is not defeat, but a pivotal step toward emotional health. Now, I encourage you to share your thoughts with the community. What is your secret negotiation strategy when confronting negative behaviors in your life? Let's create an open dialogue about the choices we make surrounding relationships. By sharing our stories, we begin to unravel the complexities of our emotions and foster connections that empower rather than deplete. Together, we can walk the path of self-advocacy, breaking free from the chains of emotional negotiation and venturing into a space where we rightfully claim our voice. As we navigate the delicate dance of relationships with those who possess harmful tendencies, another critical phase emerges: the confrontation of depression. This stage often follows the negotiation phase, where the emotional toll takes root and can manifest as an overwhelming sense of despair or hopelessness. Have you ever felt that weight pressing down on you, like a thick fog that clouds your thoughts and lifts your spirits? It's all too common, particularly when we've been active participants in tolerating toxic behaviors for far too long. In grappling with depression as a reaction to another's negative influence, we must acknowledge that it's not just the external circumstances causing our pain. It's also the internal dialogue we engage in. We enter a downward spiral where self-doubt and feelings of inadequacy intermingle with the weight of that emotional burden. Often, we may question our self-worth, thinking, if only I were more understanding, or if I could just be better, maybe they wouldn't treat me this way. This kind of thought pattern signals a deep-rooted issue that needs addressing. Consider the metaphor of a plant deprived of sunlight. Just as a plant wilts without light, we too become increasingly stifled when we ignore our emotional needs. Every disparaging comment, every moment of doubt, contributes to the feeling of being increasingly distant from our true selves. At this point, it may feel as if the very essence of who we are is buried beneath layers of neglect and despair. We must ask ourselves, how often do we allow someone else's darkness to dim our own light? Elisabeth Kübler-Ross's stages of grief remind us that we must confront and process our emotions to heal. Depression is often misunderstood as a permanent state, when in reality, it can serve as a crucial signal. It urges us to reassess our boundaries, relationships, and ultimately our value systems. While it may feel insurmountable, recognizing this discomfort allows us to explore our deeper emotional landscape and guide ourselves toward recovery. What if we viewed depression not as a foe, but as a signal, as a guide nudging us towards change? Instead of suppressing those feelings, we can acknowledge them, illuminating the truths they reveal. When we confront this stage, we can often find clarity. Have you ever reflected on your emotions during a bout of sadness and subsequently crafted a plan for change? Recognizing our pain often propels us toward reclaiming agency over our narrative. During this time, reaching out for help is paramount. Whether it's confiding in a trusted friend, seeking professional advice, or even participating in supportive communities, remember that you're not alone. Sharing your experiences opens the door to dialogue and sharing strategies that may guide you toward healing. Reflecting on these connections can transform our feelings of isolation into a sense of community and support during our darkest hours. Yet, healing from depression is not an all-or-nothing journey. It does not require you to eradicate your feelings entirely, but involves layering methods of self-advocacy over time. Engage in practices such as journaling, meditation, or physical activities that renew your spirit. What activities help you when the weight of depression feels too heavy to bear? Sometimes, the simplest actions can spark a change in our mindset and act as a pathway toward renewal. Let's take a moment to acknowledge the complexity of these emotions and the journey we traverse. It's not about erasing the feelings of despair. Rather, it's about learning how to coexist with them, using them as motivators for change. As you process your thoughts, Consider how deepening your self-compassion can counterbalance the weight of depression. Encourage yourself to ask, how can I transform this sadness into insight? What steps can I take that acknowledge my struggles while also affirming my intrinsic worth? Now, I want to invite you to share your experiences with depression related to toxic relationships. Have there been moments when your sadness prompted you to reassess your worth, your goals, and the people in your life? Your reflections may help others feel understood and supported, shedding light on the times when we can emerge stronger from the shadows. Join the conversation in the comments below and share your journey. Together, we can transform the narrative surrounding depression and begin to weave each thread of our experiences into a tapestry of resilience, connection, and shared understanding. By confronting these feelings, we create a space not only for our healing, but also for nurturing others on their paths. Let's venture forward and take another step together into the light. As we progress in our understanding of the emotional turmoil surrounding toxic relationships, we arrive at perhaps the most liberating stage, acceptance. Acceptance does not imply condoning harmful behaviors, nor does it suggest that we must silently endure negative influences in our lives. Rather, it represents a profound shift in mindset where we begin to acknowledge and embrace our reality for what it is, raw, unfiltered truth. Imagine standing in front of a mirror and truly seeing yourself for the first time. It may be uncomfortable, revealing aspects that you've long avoided. In this reflection, you may notice scars, imperfections, and shadows of past experiences that you can't change. However, when you allow yourself to accept this truth without judgment, you discover a foundational strength to move forward. This acceptance becomes the bedrock of your emotional resilience. Elisabeth Kübler-Ross, through her stages of grief, emphasized that acceptance is often met with resistance. We may initially grapple with the reality of a toxic relationship. The denial, the anger, and the sadness may cloud our ability to see what lies ahead. Yet acceptance invites us to let go of the belief that we can change others. What would happen if we redirected that energy inward, choosing instead to grow from our experiences? As you reflect on this notion, consider, what does acceptance look like in your life? Acceptance opens the door to an opportunity for change. It requires courage, the courage to recognize that the power to reshape our lives lies within us, not in the actions of others. Have you ever found yourself waiting for someone else to apologize or change while your own needs remain unattended? This waiting can seep into your sense of self-worth, creating a cycle of dependency and disappointment. Acceptance allows us to take back that power, offering the affirmation that our worth is not conditional on someone else's behavior. How can you practice acceptance in the face of toxic dynamics? It begins with shifting your focus from the pain inflicted by others to the agency you hold over your own life. Ask yourself, what lessons can I learn from this experience? Reflect on the insights gained through this journey, as they can provide the clarity needed to establish healthier boundaries and pave the way for healthier connections in the future. Acceptance also invites a sense of compassion, not just for others, but for yourself. When we truly acknowledge our experiences without the layers of shame or guilt, we can allow ourselves to heal. This process, however, does not need to happen in isolation. It's perfectly acceptable to seek the support of trusted friends or professionals who can guide you through these feelings. Picture acceptance as the beautiful, wild garden that emerges after enduring a harsh winter. It doesn't dismiss the past struggles, nor does it erase the scars. Instead, it celebrates growth that comes from resilience. We often underestimate our ability to thrive in adversity, but embracing acceptance enables us to nurture our inner gardens, planting seeds of confidence and self-love that flourish in the sunlight of recognition. Let's pause for a moment. What aspects of your relationships do you find hardest to accept? What thoughts or feelings surface when you consider the idea of letting go of the desire to change others? Invite yourself to explore those feelings. Remember, acceptance is not about giving up. It's about providing yourself with the crucial space to breathe and reflect. It's an act of self-compassion that allows you to step into a future where you thrive rather than merely survive. Now, I encourage you to engage with our community. Share how you've approached acceptance in your relationships. What strategies or insights have helped deepen your awareness of your emotional landscape? Let's cultivate a dialogue around acceptance and empower one another to embrace our journeys fully. Together, we can weave a narrative of resilience where acceptance transforms from passive resignation into active self-empowerment. By shedding light on our individual paths, we affirm each other's growth and illuminate the beauty in navigating through the shadows. So, join us in this conversation, sharing your stories of acceptance and rejuvenation in the comments below. Together, we can uplift each other, embracing a future where we reclaim our power and thrive in authenticity. As we continue our exploration of the depths of human emotions, we enter the realm of empowerment, a transformative phase emerging from the ashes of our experiences with toxic relationships. Empowerment is the culmination of denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and acceptance, and signifies a robust reclaiming of our identity. Have you ever experienced that moment when you realize you're no longer merely reacting to situations, but actively choosing your path? That shift is the essence of empowerment. Empowerment, while deeply personal, also emerges as an expressive force. This is a stage where we learn to harness our feelings, turning challenges into catalysts for growth. Unlike acceptance, which often involves recognizing and embracing our circumstances, empowerment propels us to actively reshape those circumstances with intention. So how does this look in our daily lives? Picture yourself standing tall amidst turbulent winds, the chaos around you failing to sway your core. You've weathered storms, and now you know your strength lies in your ability to connect with that inner resolve. The recollections of the practices you established during the phases of negotiation, depression, and acceptance now serve as the tools in your empowerment toolkit. As you navigate forward, ask yourself, how can I channel my experiences into a stronger sense of myself? Drawing upon Elisabeth Kübler-Ross's stages, we explore how empowerment can shine light on the darkness we once faced. Each emotion we felt becomes a stepping stone, guiding us toward an expansive horizon of self-discovery. Perhaps empowerment emerges as you decide to prioritize your mental health, learning to say no to what no longer serves you and yes to the opportunities that nurture your soul. What boundaries can you establish to protect your well-being? Consider how small, intentional actions can lead to significant transformation. Have you ever found yourself engaging in conversations with those who uplift you rather than those who drag you down? Relationships infused with positivity can reaffirm your worth and fuel your empowerment journey. You have the power to choose the company you keep, allowing those who resonate with your aspirations to enrich your life. In this process, self-advocacy becomes crucial. To empower ourselves, we must learn to articulate our needs and desires with clarity. Practicing assertive communication lays the groundwork to assert your value to others. What if you transformed confrontation into collaboration, stating your feelings as invitations for dialogue rather than accusations? Can you imagine the shift in your relationships if you approach difficult conversations from a perspective of shared understanding? Let's also consider a powerful tool, vulnerability. While this may seem counterintuitive, embracing vulnerability allows us to strengthen connections and build bridges instead of walls. Imagine sharing your truth with trusted individuals, letting them witness your journey. It creates an opportunity for communal healing, where the support you receive can fuel empowerment beyond your isolated struggles. How have vulnerable moments clarified your connections with others in your life? Engaging with your community plays a vital role in solidifying your empowerment. Reflect on the ways you can share your newfound strength with others. Can you provide support for someone grappling with similar challenges? When you lift others, you inevitably reinforce your own empowerment. Together, you can embrace a cycle of growth, encouraging one another to rise and flourish beyond past adversities. As we reflect on this stage of empowerment, it's essential to soak in its richness without losing sight of the journey that brought us here. Remember how far you have come, the confrontations, the introspection, and ultimately the transformation that has paved your way. Now I invite you to share your stories of empowerment in the comments. When did you realize you had taken control of your narrative? Which actions led you to this newfound strength? By opening this conversation, we can inspire one another and develop a collective narrative of resilience and growth. Let's embrace this journey together, fostering spaces where empowerment blossoms, allowing us to reclaim our essence while lighting the way for others on similar paths. As we continue to connect, we strengthen not just ourselves, but also the intricate web of support that binds us in our shared humanity. Together, let's celebrate empowerment as an act of defiance against the shadows of our past, inviting light into every corner of our lives. As we reach the final stage of our exploration, a celebration of resilience, we find ourselves standing at a threshold brimming with possibilities. This stage is not merely an endpoint, rather it is a vibrant beginning, a testament to the inner strength we have cultivated throughout our journey. In embracing resilience, we acknowledge the scars gained along the way, recognizing them as symbols of survival, growth, and unwavering courage. Have you ever reflected on how far you've come and felt a spark of pride ignite within you? Resilience is a magnificent tapestry woven from the threads of our struggles and triumphs. It's a reminder that while we cannot control every circumstance, we possess an incredible ability to respond. Think of resilience as the seasoned tree that bends but does not break in the storm. Its roots run deep, anchoring its growth despite fierce winds. What are the roots that anchor you in the face of life's challenges? As we discuss resilience, it's important to remember that it does not entail merely bouncing back. It involves thriving in new ways. This stage calls upon our ability to envision a future where our past experiences serve as guiding lights rather than anchors holding us in place. This transition from surviving to thriving drives resilience. It frames our pain as vital lessons that synthesize our growth. Have you identified any lessons from your experiences that have shaped your current outlook on life and relationships? As you navigate this final phase, consider creating rituals of celebration in your everyday life. Maybe it's commemorating milestones, both big and small. Each signifies a step toward healing and empowerment. How can you celebrate the essence of your journey? This might be through journaling, sharing your story with friends, or simply taking a moment of gratitude for the lessons learned. What rituals resonate with you that can help solidify this sense of accomplishment? Think back to the vulnerability you embraced in the earlier stages. It leads beautifully into this celebration of resilience. Vulnerability fosters connections, and in fostering connections, we can create communities of support where our resilience amplifies. Your story can inspire others, light a beacon of hope for those still grappling with their journey. Take a moment to visualize this. When you share your journey of resilience, you create ripples of empowerment extending beyond your own experience. You become a lighthouse, guiding others through their storms. Have you had moments when someone's story of resilience inspired you to push through adversity? Reflect on the power that your own narrative can hold for others. In celebrating resilience, let us not shy away from acknowledging the complexities of our emotions. Our journey hasn't been linear. It's a spectrum of feelings and experiences that mold us into who we are. Transitioning from despair to empowerment and finally to resilience is like weaving a rich tapestry with multicolored threads. Each emotion adds depth and character. How can you embrace the fullness of your journey, acknowledging both the light and dark threads that contributed to your unique pattern? As we conclude this reflection, know that resilience is an ongoing process. It requires nurturing and attention, just like a garden. It thrives on self-care, self-compassion, and community support. How will you continue to tend to your garden? Consider the practices and connections that enrich your life today. I invite you to share your reflections on resilience in the comments. What does resilience mean to you? How have you celebrated your journey? By sharing your insights, you contribute to an ever-growing tapestry of experiences, weaving together our collective strength and shared humanity. Let's stand together in gratitude, celebrating the power of resilience and the connections that flourish within our community. Through our dialogue of shared stories, insights, and encouragement, we can create a ripple effect, inspiring one another to rise and celebrate every step along the way. Together, let's embody resilience, forge ahead into a future where we not only bear the weight of our past, but transform it into a foundation for a vibrant, empowered present.